What's up, everybody? Welcome back to World's Your Oysta, and I'm your host, Paula Sanders. Today's guest is a true multi-hyphenate. She's a model, an actress, beauty entrepreneur, and the founder of Maed Beauty, a clean beauty brand that bridges luxurious self-care with bold self-expression. You may have seen her first on the cover of fashion magazines or on the big screen, but Denise Vasi has evolved her platform into something that's far more powerful. From motherhood to modern entrepreneurship, Denise brings a realness to every conversation. And today, we're getting into it all. Well, Denise, welcome to World's Your Oysta.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to have you. And congratulations, we have some big news today for your brand. Can you tell us?
Yes, we just won our first beauty award, Best Matte Lipstick of 2025 from Mary Claire, which is very exciting. You know, we just launched like 7 months ago. So it is very, very overwhelming in all the most beautiful way.
It is such a big deal. I know that these beauty awards like really are monumental for brands like yourself, especially at such a young and infantile stage. And you have really done it all. You, model, actress, founder. But if someone was to meet you today, how would you introduce yourself?
Mother first. My babies come first.
How many babies?
My 10-year-old, who's 10 going on 25, because she's a girl, because she's at what 10-year-olds are these days. And my almost 6-year-old little boy, Dries.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So mother and building a brand. a lot of moving parts. And I know that you speak a lot about change, right? You've gone through a lot of changes in your life, professionally, personally, creatively. So what is something about starting over that you think people really need to hear?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, I feel like I never looked at it as starting over because each pivot, as I like to call it, has been something that's kind of grown on the last version of myself. And each time it was really attached to this bigger like evolution in my life. So I think, first of all, it always sounds harder than it is. But if you sit in silence and you really like reflect on who you want to be, and that can change, right? But what you want to do, and it comes from a real sense of purpose, there's no way you can actually get it wrong. And there's no way you can't accomplish it.
Yeah.
You know, this morning, like I said, we were talking earlier, receiving an award so early after putting in 4 years of some serious grind is so overwhelmingly, like I'm so excited and so like flustered with so many feelings because 4 years ago, people were like, what do you want to do? And what's your background? And like, what's your place
you were acting,
here?
right? Or modeling and acting?
I started modeling a gazillion years ago. I transitioned into acting. Then I became a mom. Then I moved in the digital space. So I launched Maed, was originally an editorial site.
I saw that.
So we were there for references and recipes and intentional living, clean beauty recos.
It's still alive and it's still actually pretty good because I was on it last night and I was like, wait, this stuff is actually like nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I started to create beauty content for other brands. And beauty's always been my thing. Like I grew up with my grandmother who was obsessed with beauty. And when I was signed to Ford Models very young, and when they realized that I wasn't going to become 5'9", which was a modeling rule of the past.
How tall are you, by the way?
Literally, like for real, I'm not telling you. But my license says 5'7".
I was going to say, because I'm like, okay, 5'7".
5'7", and
like
then
I'm
the heels.
5'4".
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely told some fibs about that in my modeling days. And then I transitioned, like I started making content for other brands. And I was just like, gosh, this is something I've always wanted to do. I had an idea in 2019. People didn't really understand this idea of elevated lip care. But now, later, there was such a space for it. And our, concept of what it could be was so different. Like we had a very strong point of difference. And I was just like, you know what? It's now or never. Like, what do I have to lose? Am I going to go after something and be happy? Or am I going to be on my deathbed later in life thinking about all the things I didn't do because I was fearful of failing?
It's so important. And so many of us get stuck in that cycle of failure. I think I'm in one of those right now,
You better not be.
Well, we're just scared to leave the job that's been so good to us to do the thing that we know that we're actually meant to do. Maybe it's also too, like with this podcast, I have a full-time job that and then I have this podcast that I'm growing and I'm loving and I'm nurturing. But I always think like, what if I just threw myself into the deep water and just did this? How much better could I make this? How much more successful would I be at it?
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard. You get really stuck. You get really comfortable. And there is that fear. And I think another thing that is really interesting is that, you come from the creative space as both a model and an actress. And it's really hard, I think, when you leave these creative careers. I was a professional dancer. So it was really hard for me to find my footing once I left the dance world and really figure out like what is going to make me feel successful after that. Mm-hmm. How am I going to find my worth in a way? And it's a serious exploration. And I would assume that that's what you went through. And you also did it after motherhood, which I know is a whole other cycle of like, what is my identity? Who am I?
Mm-hmm.
So you get there. You said the brand is about 4 years old. So we're looking at what, 2021 when you started the brand? Or
right around 2021. Yeah, we started formulating. Yeah.
So why lips?
Why lips? Oh,
Yes.
Because I'm obsessed with people's lips. And also, really, I just saw this void. Like no one at the time, especially then, no one cared enough about them. I figured, like I looked at all these products I was using and I was like, why do I have like a ritual or a 3-step system or, or 12-step system for so many other parts of my face alone? Then we saw the skinification of hair come along. And I'm like, yeah, of course we should be exfoliating our scalp. Yeah. That makes sense, and body care came to follow.
Yep.
And yet one of the most delicate parts of our face, exposed to so much, right? Environment, product, makeup, and we use it to express every single day, right? Through our voice, through our embrace, kisses, and we don't have anything that really caters to the longevity of the health of lips. So that's my other thing. Like, yes, there's tons of great lip products out there, aesthetically, but what is actually going to help my lips, the lip skin, maintain its health and the strength of its barrier over time? And that's what I really wanted to deliver for myself. First and foremost, when I was on a TV show called Single Ladies, I rocked a red lip. And so it became kind of my thing. And everyone would say, like, how do you maintain like a matte red lip all the time? Doesn't it dry your lips? And I go, it does. And I was mixing things and I was trying things. So, I always knew I wanted to have my own formula. But then I also realized, like, it's true, most people won't wear a matte liquid lipstick every single day. One, because they're, especially back then, were not formulas that were super comfortable. But two, you actually need to care for your lips. Like, you can't put a red on and have crusty lips. Like,
right,
that's a
because then you
hard
get like,
pass.
yeah, because it gets like all up in here.
Yeah, all up in everything.
Which is why I love your exfoliator.
Thank you.
The exfoliator, I am obsessed with. Let's first talk about the name, right?
Yeah.
Maed. Mm-hmm. So how did you come up with this name? And then how did you come up with the 3-step process? And then let's talk about the color.
Okay. So funny enough, you had just said something where you were talking about like what makes me feel successful. And so as I was trying to come up with the names originally for the community and also for the editorial, I was really thinking about where I was in life and how I was taking this pivot and not going back to acting because I didn't know that I was going to do that. I had my daughter and I thought, well, of course I need to get back on set. And then I physically had her. And I thought, well, I don't want to necessarily raise her in a trailer. And that time I was shooting in Atlanta, 17-hour days. And, I was just starting to understand that there was something happening with social where it could be not only this place where I shared and got to storytell, especially after acting, like I still had that need to storytell, but like I could actually help people. But what could I turn that into where I also felt like I had a purpose? And that kind of led me into that inner, reflective conversation about what does it feel to be successful, like you said. And for women, especially going through motherhood, I really just came to the conclusion that we all want to feel like we've made it in a way. And there's no one way to do that. And there's no one thing in your life that's going to really make you feel that wholeheartedly, right? Because what my daughter and my son give to me and how they fulfill me as a mother is the most beautiful gift. But after a year and a half home with them full time, I was like, I still kind of want to go out and do something for myself and show them and also give something back to them. And this whole kind of conversation just happened. And I was sitting, I was praying to God, and I was like, I really we've been trying to figure out a name for 7 months. And what does this tie back to? And it was like, okay, it really ties back to like feeling made.
Yeah. Like feeling like you've made it.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually made it.
A couple times. Thank you. And then I thought, well, that's going to be hard to trademark. So how could we make it unique? And my daughter's her second name, her name is Lennox May, M-A-E, which she doesn't use these days because she's too cool. So she's just Lennox. But and then I combined that with the D from my name. And I was like, now we tell Dries that D is for him. So one day he'll listen to this.
Son?
Yes. And so it all just kind of tied together.
That's kind of like divine. And if you really think about it, like you wanted the name Maed. Your daughter's middle name is May. Your son's name starts with the D, although he wasn't around just yet, but it's the D for your last name.
And I believe in all that.
Oh, me too.
I'm total woo-woo universe. I'm here today for a real reason. Yes. You and I, like our spirits have come together. Yes. This is who I am. So
I love that.
And I just thought, well, that's kind of a dope name for a makeup brand.
It is. And the branding is, guys, the product is so chic and so beautiful. I actually leave it out.
Thank you.
I leave it out. I have like this little mirror that has a tray underneath it, and I leave it out because it's so beautiful. I mean, the color red, I would love to know like what the color red, what it means to you and how it makes you feel. Because obviously it's something that is important to you. You have the red lip on today. You created a beautiful red. But did you work on that branding on your own? Like you did that?
I didn't work on it on my own. I had a agency come in, but I did.
You're involved in the whole process.
Well, they executed my vision.
Right.
They brought a lot of great ideas to the table, but they weren't quite just right. And that's, I think, one of the things that I would say if I would go back and do it again, I probably wouldn't have spent a big amount of my budget on a big agency, but they did execute my vision very well. At the end of the day, picking the right shade of red, especially for the balm tube was really difficult because red reads really different and a bunch of different, whether it's plastic, it's recycled plastic, paper. And so I took that to the community. We did a lot of swatch testing. I was taking like Pantone trips everywhere I went. My girlfriends were like, "You're bananas." Yeah. And I'm so happy with the red that we landed on. And for me, red is just, such a symbolization of power and just kind of owning your shit, and
Love
showing up bold and unapologetically. And that is what I really hope I've always inspired in my community. And I hope my brand continues to just empower women to go out and be expressive and also be reflective. Like those two parts of you can exist together. And the same for the formulation, like really efficacious, clean formulas with packaging that feels luxury, feels like an accessory. I wanted you to leave it out.
Yeah.
I wanted you to pull it out of your bag and feel like it was cool.
It's very cool.
Fun. Yeah. And I always tell this story. If you saw a girl pull it out on the subway, you'd be like, "Oh, she's my kind of girl," right? It's like when you're wearing the It bag and you're like, "Oh yeah, I like that bag. Yeah. That's on my list."
100%. No, it's so cool. So you have the 4 SKUs, right? So
yes.
Let's talk about the ritual.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're calling it, right?
Yeah,
it's like your lip ritual.
The lip ritual. And really it's about exfoliation treatment and, just locking in that moisture and hydration. So the polish is super innovative, which is probably why you love it, because it is unlike anything else.
It's become like a part of my morning routine, actually.
I love it.
I do that when I wake up. As soon as I wake up, after I brush my teeth, I put on the balm and I do my little...
You're doing all the right things, my friend. So I wanted something, first of all, that was gentle enough that you could use more than once a week, because if you are wearing the red every day, you need exfoliation. Yes. I exfoliate 3 times a week, sometimes 4. And I also wanted something that didn't then just completely strip the lip, because what I've experienced in the past with some products that are meant to exfoliate the lip is that you're then left with this really dry, stripped lip that can actually, the lip skin barrier will actually break, and you might not even know and have these little micro tears, which is damaging. So I wanted something that would break down and leave you with this foundational level of moisturization. And so we really worked on finding something that the body can create the heat by mixing and massaging the formula into the lip, and then it breaks into this balm that your lips absorb.
Yeah. And it gives you kind of like a matte, it's hard to explain. It's almost like a matte, but there's moisture.
Yes. Yeah. Because I was like, if it leaves your lip dry.
Yeah, no, we don't want that. What's the point?
Then you're starting at a bad place.
Yeah.
Or, some formulas will call for washing it off. And I'm like, well,
who's got the time?
Now, it's just also like you've put water on your lips now. So the minute the lips don't have glands to reproduce their own oils, so they can't rehydrate themselves like the rest of the body.
Oh, that's interesting.
So now if they're wet, you've invited the lips to become dry because they can't replenish. And now you're going to get that tight lip that when it moves, it cracks. So that's meant to have your foundation right there, straight and set. And then the lip serum, which is unlike, honestly, I'm so biased right now, but it is unlike anything else because it's really a treatment. It's meant to sit just like, I don't know what serum you use on your face, if you use a vitamin C or hyaluronic acid or something in between.
All of them.
But yeah, it's meant to actually treat the lips.
Yeah.
So long-term, this clinically studied long-term benefits. It lightens and brightens the lips so you have that fleshy, natural tone. Some of the immediate results are it's not a lip plumper, but you feel that little tingle. So it brings those lines in your lips. It just kind of fills them up, which makes it like a really nice primer for anything that you might want to apply afterwards. But the immediate hydration is 136%. So that's what you're getting immediate off the bat.
Wow.
So if your lips are in dire need of hydration, which is very different than moisturization, which people don't really talk about.
So what's the difference between those two?
Well, moisturization is soft. Hydration is putting that fluid back in so that your lips can actually be plump, or anywhere in your body so the skin can actually be plump. And then long-term clinical benefits are that your lips will actually retain 50% more hydration than if you had not been using the product twice a day for 4 weeks. And then we have our balm, our Revive Balm, which is my favorite because it's the product you kind of use all day, even though you don't need to. And my thing with balms was, listen, I need you to lock in this moisturization. I need my lips to be soft. I need it to be buttery, not sticky. But I also need it not to disappear in 6 seconds.
Yep.
I want to put this on and not worry about it for a while.
Yeah.
So maybe not the best business choice because you don't have to use it 12 times a day, but we have that great applicator that makes you want to use it 12 times a day.
Yes. But you also have a 3-step process. So you can sell the other products.
Yeah. But all the lip care products have our biomimetic ceramides, peptides, and plant stem cells. So all really there to care for your lip barrier. And then we have our Ritual Red, which is our signature lip pigment.
That's what she's wearing.
That's what I'm wearing. And that's the whole system. And then we have some newness coming in August for our Sephora launch.
Sephora launch?
Yes,
wow.
This might be the first podcast I'm mentioning it on. Yeah.
That is a huge deal. I know how hard it is to get into Sephora. Wow.
Thank you so much.
Wow, good for you.
Thank you.
That is incredible. So that's a process, right? It's a very long, very rigorous. They don't just let anybody in there, guys. So that's how you know the product is good.
It's good.
It's really good.
You.
And really, there's not many other lip in the lip category in there. You have Laneige.
We have a lot of great brands who definitely have some very popular SKUs there, very strong SKUs there, and teams and founders that I absolutely love.
Yeah.
But our POD is really about, we want to be the lip authority. We want to be the brand that you can go to for products that not only look good and not only feel good, but that are actually really good for your long-term lip health.
Yeah. And now, obviously, this is a big deal because right now you're selling direct to consumer.
Yeah.
And now you're going to be going into how many doors? Do you know?
We don't know exactly yet, but quite a few.
Okay, this is exciting.
So exciting. Thank
you.
you.
So how do you think that this is going to change the way that you move about your day-to-day, your life with your children?
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely going to be a lot busier. I already am, just even getting ready and preparing for launch. But, my kids will always come first. And if I'm the mom who's like, if I got to get up at 3 to start working before they wake up, I do. And everything that might seem crazy or wild, for some people. But, everything is about what do you want? And I knock on wood, I haven't had to miss anything for my kids yet. And that's the position I maintain. And if that takes, sacrificing some sleep or less of a social life, then that's the grind I'm in. It's not going to be forever.
Yeah. And I know for you too, I mean, you've built such an incredible community, both on your, you had your Maed community, but you also have such a huge community online, which of course comes with a lot of work to maintain that community. So how do you kind of structure yourself to make sure that you're also making that content for people that is relatable and that they love and is not just always about your product? Because that's the other thing too, right? There's a fine line between showing up every day online as you and then showing up as the you that's creating this beautiful brand. So is there kind of a secret sauce that you have to make everything feel as authentic as it appears?
Thank you for saying that. Honestly, you hit on the nail. It's just being exactly who I am, really, every single day. That's how I grew the community. And when I get lost, because you see other people doing things and trends change, and how you film, what's popular changes on social every single day, and the algorithm changes. But every day, my goal is like, I wake up and I think, how am I going to be the truest version of who I am right now? And that is in all my relationships, my online relationship with my community, my relationship with, my children, my family, my friends. And, I come on sometimes and I'm like, guys, I've been MIA for 3 days. I've been tired. This is kicking my butt. Or I'm having a down period. I've been crying for 2 days because I've been so stressed, or I'm suffering from, what were we talking about before? Like imposter syndrome. And, when I share that, one, I'll get a flood of DMs from other people who are going through the same thing. And then it just reminds you that like, this is so normal. Or two, I get a flood of emails from people who say, thank you for sharing that and not making it seem like, things happen overnight or it's so easy. And that just is, the thing that reminds me that showing up this way, even sometimes if it's embarrassing, you look back and I'm like, oh my God, why was I crying on Instagram? And I'm like, but that was real. That was like a real moment. And people really appreciate that. And that is also your differentiator. Like that is what makes you and makes you why people, that's why people gravitate towards you and what you build.
Yeah.
And my thing also is like, everyone knows if there's like, when I talk about products, I'm like, if a product's not good, you're not going to hear about it. It doesn't matter how much money they're offering me. Like if it doesn't work, if it doesn't fit, like what I think the community needs, then I just don't talk about it.
Yeah. Well, that's got to be interesting too now, as you are a brand founder. And I'm sure, nobody likes the word influencer, but I'm sure that was probably a source of income for you. So
yeah, that's what got this whole thing going. Absolutely.
The whole thing going. So now that you have your own brand, are you able to still do brand deals with other companies that are just not, in the same category as you?
Yeah, I just shot one today, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. See, I don't think of things in the space as competitors. Like even my team meetings, no one's allowed to use that word. We use peers in this space. Like there's no Coca-Cola without Pepsi. So like there could be no Maed if there wasn't a Summer Fridays, if there wasn't a Myriad, if there wasn't Ami Collet. Like we are peers. And I will say, out of all the things I've done and all the industries I've been in, the beauty founder community is so tight and so helpful. Today I was at the breakfast for the award ceremony, and Sarah Creel was like, call me, let's sit down, let me walk you through some of this stuff. I can make this so much easier for you, because she just went through her launch last year.
Yeah.
And so in that respect, yeah, I would, the brands that I love, I continue to work with. And, if certain brands don't want to work together because I have my own brand, that's okay too.
I love that the beauty industry has really become this like beautiful team of women. So many female founders. Like, not only is it like a multi-quadrillion dollar industry now, but like now it's being run by women, where before it was kind of run by the, the Revlons, the L'Oreals of the world, even though of course they think the dream is to like sell to one of those eventually. But like these smaller brands, I mean, they're all run by the most incredible, dynamic, smart, gorgeous women. And I've gotten to speak to so many of them by doing this podcast. I feel it's been such a great blessing on my end, because they've all been so different. They've all been so like happy to help me as well too, with however that they can. And you guys are lucky, because not every industry is like that.
Oh yeah. It's a breath of fresh air after coming from like the modeling and acting world, right? I grew up with all women. My mom was a single mom. My aunt and my grandmother helped raise me. So my thing is, I'm the biggest champion, and I'm the first person. Like, I'm always like, what brands can I talk about in this interview? Like, okay, what are they asking me, and who can I make sure that I bring into the fold? Because supporting women and empowering women is like my everything. Yeah. Because that's how I grew up. Like, that's how I was able to go out and do all these incredible things that I've been able to do, because my support system was a group of women who banded together to raise me.
I love that. And as a mom, I think, it would be great to hear from you if you have any advice for moms that are at home that might want to either start a business or start to open up online and start doing influencing or content creation. What would your advice be to these ladies?
Great question. There's a reason that Nike's "Just Do It" is such a great slogan. Mm-hmm. It is really about just doing it, just putting your head down and doing the work. I mean, there's so many incredible tools now, like AI as well. Like before I had Google, like it was so much harder. Then I had Google to kind of like, okay, find out, where do you start? How do you start a beauty brand? How do you start a website? What should we be doing? But I think AI is a great tool to sit in and prompt your ideas into like, I want to build this. How can I do it? And I think, just have the thickest skin, because people will tell you can't do both. And if you want to, you can. And it's not going to be easy, right? And you will cry and you will lose sleep and it'll be hard AF. But if you are determined and you do the work, you can get it done. And for me, like, I hope that my story is that biggest inspiration and Amen. Just proof that it can happen.
100%. What do you do on the rough days when you're feeling overwhelmed? What is like the first thing that you do to reset?
Mm-hmm. So I'm really big on rituals, hence why I developed one. And those really keep me as balanced as possible. So leaning into my tools, like, okay, I need to move my body. And that could be different. That could be going into the gym to lift weights, or it could be a hot yoga class, or it could be dance. Dance is a big one for me, especially when I'm feeling like down or just very emotional.
Yeah.
Like getting that all out through dance is very, very important to me.
Do you go like take a class?
Oh, and you're a dancer.
Yeah. Like, so tell me, like we have to go
together. Yeah. Which is why I do a lot of community meetups. I do dance classes. Because
so where do you do them?
We did one at Millennial, was like the last one we did. We've done a couple of spots in New York.
Okay. You should do Forward Space for your next.
We did Forward Space. That was our first one.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now I heard SAA in Brooklyn, the WSA, but the one that's in Brooklyn, they apparently do like an all levels. Do you know Jenna Perry?
No.
She's like an incredible hairstylist. Like, so she does hair color actually. And so she also was a dancer. And she was telling me that she takes these like adult all levels classes at SAA, and it's all cool people, because like they only have cool people that are part of their community.
Such a vibe.
Yeah.
I have to do that. Yeah. So that's a big one for me. Steam. So like steam, sauna, cold plunge. And just trying to watch what I eat in sense of like sugar or dairy, like just not doing too much of anything, because I can easily eat 3 like candy bars. And it's okay.
Stress eater.
Yeah, exactly. It's okay when it's just, okay, I'm just munching because I'm munching, or, I'm on my moon cycle or whatever. But like if I am doing it from an emotional place, it'll just completely wipe me out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just grace. Just there are definitely days where I'm like, okay, I'm winning at, like, if I'm winning at motherhood, then my whole team is waiting on the sideline for me to give 17 answers that they haven't received yet. And when they're all good and I've, hit my to-do list for everybody, my kids looking at me like, okay, mom, what's up? What time are we going to have dinner? So I try to remind myself to give myself grace because I'm doing a lot and I am showing up for a lot of people, just in life and my community, my friendships, my online community as well. So some days you just got to say, listen, this is as good as I got.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a huge energy exchange. I think that a lot of people don't realize how much the online energy exchange really does take out of a person. And I know you've talked so much about motherhood, not just on this show, but so much so online as well. And you've talked about how that it's really completely changed your lens. So now as a founder and a mom, how has your definition of success evolved?
I think when I was younger, I thought it was about other people's perception of what I was doing, especially like modeling and acting. If I booked the big job or I got that role, finally, they could think that I was, good enough or successful. I've made it to them. And then you get older and then you have your children and you realize, like, if my daughter or my son wakes up and they are proud of me, no matter what it is I'm doing, then that's my definition of success. If everything I do, I can stand by and say that would make my child proud, whether today or later on in life when they know what I did or who I am or what I sacrificed or how I showed up, because they didn't fully understand. Like my son doesn't fully understand. My daughter understands at 10. Mom's
building a brand
as at every, still on the, it's still
PTA.
a classroom mom, chaperoned every field trip. She understands that.
She's got to
level.
look at you though and be like, my mom is not like the other moms. Come on. Like at mommy pickup, like
not a competition. But
I know, but she's got to know.
But she definitely understands. She definitely understands the struggle and the sacrifice, but that it comes out of pure love. And I'm appreciative of that, because one day I might not be able to be at something and she'll know it'll be the first. Right. And, mommy would have done anything to be there. But, this time is different. But today
she's so proud.
She's so proud. This morning I spoke to her on our way to school and she's like, Mom, I can't wait to see the award. And I wasn't sure we were actually getting a physical award. And when we walked in, I was like, oh, we are. She's going to be so excited. I can't wait to show her.
Yeah, no, she'll only look back. Like, both of my parents are entrepreneurs and they were very busy my whole life growing up. And I remember actually as a kid, like screaming for my mom when she left, because they run dance school. So my mom would go to work at 4 and work until 10, because that's the dance school schedule. Yeah. She's working with kids. And I remember that pain growing up. But now as I'm older, I can only look back at those times and just respect my parents for still doing it, even though it hurt them to leave. But I see what they've been able to build, and I'm envious of it in a way. Like, I'm just like, the communities that you've built, the people's lives that you've all have touched, thousands and thousands of people. They'll both be celebrating their 45-year anniversary this year. And, so we have celebrations for both, because they're not together anymore. And the amount of people that I'm in contact with on a day-to-day basis to pull off both of these celebrations, which mom and dad, I hope you're not watching. It's just, I'm just taken back by the amount of people that they touch and that they've affected. So I can't help but, as their child, to just be so proud and to think, wow, what an incredible example they set for me. Because when it comes to work, I know what a good work ethic, a great work ethic is. And that's why I think I've always been able to show up in the way that I show up. So these kids, they'll forget that you weren't at the, their oboe concert. And they're going to be so proud of you. And it's incredible what you've been able to do in such a short time with the brand. Obviously, you had an incredible modeling career and an acting career, but this is completely different. Everything prepares you for what you're about to do, but a lot of those skills are not super transferable. So you should be really proud of what you've been able to build in in such a short time. So congratulations to you.
Thank you so much. And congratulations to your parents.
Oh,
This is a big one. And also think about that story you just told me and think about, what you were saying about doing this full time because you have those bones are there for you.
Well, she likes to put on a show. Well, thank you so much for bringing your energy. The product, you guys, if you have not yet tried it, you must get it on your lips. Every single step of the process is just perfection. You're also going to love putting it out on your little counter. You're going to love to whip it out on the subway. You're going to feel like that girl. So get the products. Where can everybody find you on the internet?
Absolutely. So I'm at Denise Vasi, Vasi, across all platforms.
TikTok as well. So Instagram, TikTok.
Yes.
Are you YouTube girly too?
Yeah, I think we throw stuff up there every once in a while.
It's
so hard to be everywhere these days.
And where can they shop the product?
Currently, you can shop at Maed, Maed Beauty.com. And then come August, you can shop at Sephora.
Woohoo! This is so exciting. Congratulations on your big win today. And thank you all for listening. And we'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.